Welcome to Behind the Warrior, a podcast presented by the EOD Warrior Foundation. This series will focus on resources, interviews, and topics impacting EOD warriors, their families, and the military community at large.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Maria Shabla, and today we are very excited to be speaking with Army Sergeant Major and former EOD tech and Delta Force operator Mike Vining, and his wife, author, retired freelance photojournalist, semi-retired professional wildlife photographer, Donna Ikenberry. Welcome to the podcast, Mike and Donna.
Well, thanks, Maria. We're glad to be here.
So, Mike and Donna, when I first heard the story about how you met, I was really blown away, and I thought, oh my gosh, this should be a movie. Can you tell us what brought you both to Guadalupe Peak in 1997 and your version of meeting each other?
Let me start.
I was there working on a story for a RV magazine, and so I was just there to photograph the national park, and I like to climb peaks, so I was on the trail up to Guadalupe Peak the day we met.
Okay, awesome. RV magazine. Yeah. Do you remember what magazine it was? Is that what it was called?
It was Trailer Life.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Guadalupe Peak, it happens to be the highest peak in Texas. So It's about 9,000 feet, right? Maybe just hair under.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't think Texas has mountains.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought that. That's really interesting. So what brought you there, Mike?
Well, I started doing the state high points, the highest points in all 50 states. I guided a leg amputee in 1994 up Denali Peak, and he was doing the highest points of all 50 states, the leg amputee, with the goal of setting the record.
Wow.
So I was contacted and asked if I would guide him up Denali in Alaska, which I did. Then he contacted me and asked me if I'd guide him up the highest peaks in Montana and Wyoming, and Granite Peak in Montana, and Gannett Peak in Wyoming. So I guided him up those two peaks in this quest to do the 50 state high points and set the record, which he did. 67 days, did the state high points.
Wow.
And as a leg amputee, a disabled person, he still holds that record.
Wow, that's incredible. What was his name?
Todd Houston.
Okay.
He has a book, More Than Mountains, and Donna had read that book before we even met. So she didn't know who I was, but she had read that book. It was kind of funny.
Wow.
So I'm of course in the book, and they've written a screenplay. They've tried to make it into a movie, but it is a screenplay. His quest to do the 50 state high points.
That is incredible. So you were there because you kind of started your own journey to finish the 50 high points?
Yeah, I think it was my 15th state high point that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing work in Socorro, New Mexico at New Mexico Tech. I was doing some explosive testing out there. And then on the weekends, I went down. On that weekend, I went down and did the Guadalupe Peak. And on another weekend, I did Wheeler Peak, the highest point in New Mexico. But it was that week doing Guadalupe Peak. I got there and I spent the night at White City. I got up really early in the morning. It was still dark because I had to get back to Socorro, New Mexico, drive back there. So I had to do the peak and get back. So I was on the trail and I could see that I wasn't the only one on the trail. I could see up ahead of me a headlamp, and somebody got on the trail before me. And eventually I caught up with that somebody, and it was Donna. And at that point she stopped. I don't know it was daylight, I think, by that point. And
That's to take pictures.
yeah, take pictures. And we exchanged a few words, and I continued on to the top. Then when I came off the top of the mountain, just below it, she was setting up, taking more pictures. She hadn't gone to the top yet. And we started talking. Well, she had this T-shirt on, and it's a whale huggers T-shirt. It's Alaska T-shirt, and it has all these different species of whales that are in line, and the person standing on the dock, each whale is waiting its turn to be hugged. So she had this T-shirt on, and so we started talking, and about Alaska and her time in Alaska and stuff like that. And then she told me she was a guidebook author. She wrote hiking guides. She had the Hiking Oregon book, a bunch of other things. I have never met a female guidebook author. They're usually guidebook authors are males. Sometimes it'd be a husband, wife, or male, female, but she was doing all this stuff by herself. And I collect guidebooks, so we exchanged business cards, and then I went down and she went up, and that was it. But then I would keep sending her these postcards. Like I went to Poland, and I did the highest point in Poland, Zakopane. And I carry these postcards to the top, and then I write them. They were carried to the top, and then I mail them as soon as I get down. And so she would get these postcards, but she had misplaced my business card. And of course, I didn't have return addresses on postcard. So she's saying, I keep getting these postcards from this guy, but I can't write him back. Maybe to tell him to stop writing. You could go ahead and continue what happened there.
Well, I got together with a lot of women friends in Montana at my friend's ranch, and I went to loan a sleeping bag to one of them, and the business card was in a sleeping bag. Somehow it got in there, and it had been really cold and windy at Guadalupe Peak, and I think I had used the sleeping bag as an extra, comforter. And
oh my goodness.
So anyway, I had just been telling the women friends that this guy keeps sending me these postcards, and then I found the business card, so I wrote Mike and told him thank you for the postcards, and then that's how we got back in contact.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, so she wrote me, and then she was going to be out at Death Valley doing another story for another magazine on Death Valley. And this time now I'm working out at Nevada test site, doing more testing, explosive testing at Nevada test site, which is a short distance from Death Valley. So I would take off, it's a 4-day week work at Nevada test site. So I take off on the weekend. I went to Death Valley, and we would hike together in Death Valley. So that's how we started. And
we were just friends at first, but that's what I thought. But Mike,
yeah, I thought that this person was just such an amazing, doing all this stuff on her own, and then the Nick. What was it? Then it was still, we were still up there, and you were in Death Valley. But I got us tickets on Valentine's Day to see Elton John. She said she liked Elton John. Elton John was in Las Vegas at the LGM. So I got us tickets to see Elton John. So she would come. She was going to come up that weekend, a Valentine's weekend. But I was all prepared. I was on an airplane, and I was, the flight magazines, and there was an article in there about the Hallmark greeting cards and stuff. And it said the hottest Hallmark greeting card for this Valentine's season is the first kiss, is still waiting for the first kiss. So I went to a Hallmark store, got the card. I went and got, some candy, I got some flowers. She liked Diet Coke, got everything. So as I knew she was coming to the hotel there, had everything all set up. But then when I looked at, as she pulled in, she wasn't all by herself.
Oh, wait, Mike, I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Oh, wait, there you go.
So she wasn't alone in the truck. It says, I just got a thing saying my internet is unstable.
Oh, okay,
So
okay. We'll cut that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
When
stopped
she
at
was-
but she wasn't alone.
No, she had two people with her, a man and a woman. It was her brother and his wife, Hawaii. They were coming to also see Elton John, too. So I had this stuff all set up in the room, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. You know, like if I just open one of the drawers and just take and put everything in the drawer and close it or what, I left it out. So they came in and they're looking and like, oh, this is something more than just, you know. So it was kind of.
It was funny because my brother was teasing me about Mike being my boyfriend. And I kept saying, he's not my boyfriend. We're just friends. You know, we were just like pals. And, but my brother kept teasing me that Mike was my boyfriend. So you should have seen the look on his face when we walked in and he saw all the stuff.
It was kind of an embarrassing moment, but it went good. I got along really good with both her brother and his wife, Donna and Yoli. We got along just fine. Had a great time but this was 2 days before Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And it was the first kiss card. Well, time goes along and there's no kiss, except for there was one after the Elton John show. Got the first kiss. So,
oh my gosh.
It took 2 days before she.
Donna, what was going through your mind when you walked in and saw all that?
I was really surprised, and I knew that Mike liked me, but I wasn't. I had been married before, and I wasn't really interested in getting married or having a boyfriend.
Which I heard several times. I heard that. I'm not interested.
And so I just, I thought it would be okay, though. I did like Mike a lot. So I thought, well, at least I can handle having a boyfriend that's on the East Coast and I'm in the West.
Yeah, long distance relationship, because I was at Fort Bragg today, Fort Liberty, and she's done most of the stuff on the West Coast. And but we kept seeing each other at least once a month because I traveled a lot. She traveled. Mm-hmm. We would link up. And then I proposed to Donna on Mount Rainier. We did a climb on Mount Rainier. And then so we met on a Highpoint. Mount Rainier's Washington's Highpoint. So we figured we set a date to get married on the highest point in Hawaii, which is Mauna Kea, which is 13,000 feet. So on January 6, 1999, we went up to the top of Mauna Kea with her brother and his wife, the same couple in Hawaii, in Las Vegas.
Wow.
And we all went up to the top. And Donna and I exchanged our wedding vows on top of Mauna Kea. Now, but I had arranged down at the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park at Kilauea Military Camp. There's a chapel there. So I arranged for a chaplain to marry us. I had prearranged all that. We got our marriage certificates in Hilo. And so once we got down there and we got married there at the chapel there at Kilauea Military.
Is just incredible. That is an incredible love story. So, Mike, is it fair to say that you were pretty starstruck when you met Donna?
Oh, yeah. I knew right away that this was some person that was special and she just unique. doing all this stuff. She was doing a lot of long distance hiking completely by herself, writing these books, like Hiking Oregon and stuff. And then she got a contract to do the Weminuche Wilderness as we were going together. The Weminuche Wilderness is the largest wilderness in Colorado. It's 500,000 acres, so it's about the same size as Smoky Mountain National Park that the Weminuche is. And she had it was a 2-year project that she was hiking the Weminuche, hiking all the trails for the book. And she did a lot of it all by herself. She had some girlfriends that would come in and hike with her. And so I flew when she was going to do the Continental Divide Trail from Wolf Creek Pass to Stony Pass that passes through the Weminuche. I flew in, I took leave, I flew in, and we did, and we were already engaged at this point.
Yeah.
And I flew in and I hiked we did a couple other hikes before that, but it was a 10-day hike on the Continental Divide Trail through the Weminuche. And we figured that this was kind of like a test, if we could do a 10-day backpack trip, rough, at elevation and, sometimes in stormy weathers because of the monsoons coming in the afternoon. If we were still speaking to each other at 10 days, then this would work. And it did work. We had a good time on that hike.
Yeah, we made a good team.
Yeah, we both worked together. We shared responsibilities and we set up camp quickly. We break camp down quickly, and we just hiked really good together.
Wow. That is incredible. Yeah, I can't imagine how close you would get doing these hikes together.
Right.
Like
if you go to
kind of next level relationship stuff.
Yeah, if you go on a dinner date or go out to the theater, go someplace, you can be a person, you can be, but when you're roughing it for 10 days, and maybe not smelling the greatest and, you really get to know a person.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they can't hide who they are when you're in those
Right.
circumstances. Like, wow, that is incredible. So Donna, when Mike retired from the Army on February 1st in 1999 at Fort Bragg, you had been a military spouse for 25 days. What was your familiarity with the military prior to meeting Mike?
I really didn't have any experience with the military. And I used to think that Mike was, when he told me it was a sergeant major, I thought that it was like a drill sergeant, like how they get up in their face and they cuss and yell at you and stuff, like in the movies or TV strips. And I couldn't imagine Mike as being one of those persons, that was yelling and cussing at the guys. And then he told me that he explained that wasn't what he did.
A lot of that movie stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
And
so basically, no. Like you didn't have anybody in your family that was in the military.
Well, my dad was he was in the Air Force, but before I was born.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, her dad served during the Korean War time frame.
Okay.
He served up in Alaska, Kotzebue, a radar station in Alaska during the Korean War.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
all he did was just tell us that one time he was on the radar and they saw a flock of birds, geese, and thought it was like maybe the enemy there or something. He also had a girlfriend named Bertha, and
in Alaska,
and he told her that he would come back for her, and he never did. So we used to just think it was funny that Bertha was still waiting. We would say Bertha's probably still waiting there on the shore for you to come and get her.
Oh my gosh.
And
Poor
there's even a
Bertha.
funnier part Bertha's waiting for. We were in Alaska and doing a cruise, going out whale watching on a thing. And we met this young lady. She was from Kotzebue. And we told her the story. And she says, I know Bertha. There's
No.
actually in the village, there was two Berthas. And so she was trying to figure out which one it was. So she got on the phone, called her friend in Kotzebue, trying to figure out which Bertha it was. But Bertha had since passed away. But
Oh no, did she ever get married?
I don't know.
we don't know Bertha's story. We hope she just didn't wait too long.
What?
She had to come back.
She probably didn't. Oh.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. That is hilarious. What are the chances? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So Donna, what was your experience being a military spouse? As short as it was.
Really not much because Mike, he wasn't retired yet, but he didn't go to work during that time.
Oh wow.
We were married, and
I told her I was going to retire. And she says, well, you don't have to retire, And I says, well, I'm going to have to retire because I'm up in my limit of how long I can stay in the Army. They're going to kick me out, so I got to retire. And so then I was on terminal leave and all that kind of stuff. So the last part of it.
How many years were you in, Mike?
Well, I was in basically from 1968 to 1999. But I had a 2.5-year break. After Vietnam, I got out for 2.5 years and then rejoined the Army in October of 1973. So 31 minus 2 and about 2.5 years. So it was, 28 and a half or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Was that right, math-wise? Yeah, but
so
I wanted to get out. And she was, doing all kinds of stuff while we met each other. After Las Vegas, she had to leave early to go to Antarctica. So she took off for her first trip to Antarctica. So she was full expense paid to Antarctica, wasn't it? Yeah,
that is incredible. So you were at a good point in your career, Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to do what she was doing.
Yeah.
So Donna, when you learned what Mike's career and what his job had been in the military, what was your reaction when you learned that he wasn't really a drill sergeant?
Oh, well, I learned over the years how many
How many what?
Missions?
Well, I didn't tell her when we first met and stuff, and we were initially, I did not tell her I was in the Army.
Okay.
Because once you tell somebody you're in the Army, they have preconceived ideas about the person.
Yeah.
So
I did.
Yeah, you didn't, but I did. I didn't share early on that I was actually in the Army.
Yeah.
What did you tell her that you did, Mike?
I had a business card. I had a cover. My cover was mountaineering guide, doing rock climbing and stuff. So I had a business card. I was a member of the American Alpine Club, and I was a professional member of the American Mountain Guides Association.
Oh, wow.
So I did climbing, I did guiding, like I did the guy in Alaska, Todd Houston, So I just that's what I did in my off time. And so it was.
You do talk about being military a lot.
Since then?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I
went at.
Right, everywhere. But during the time I was in the military, I went on, I was a guide, mountain guide.
Wow.
And I
so
don't
then
want to say I didn't I learned over time how many missions he's been on.
Uh-huh.
And then it was surprising to me how many people knew who he was. Once he got out of the military, I would think, how do they know him? What he's done. But a lot of people seem to.
Yeah, they do. Just that not only in the EOD, all four services in the EOD, but even in special operations, whether it be a ranger or stuff, they know who I am. I got a letter the other day from a lady from Indiana. She's 88 years old, and she wrote me to thank me for my service.
Wow.
So I wrote her back, and on the the 14th, I think I'm doing a safety talk, the Air Force EOD at Beulah Air Force in California have their safety days coming up. And this is be the third year I give a talk on their safety day.
Wow.
So I do, still do a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yes, Mike is a popular man, Donna.
Yeah.
That might have helped you out, Mike, in the beginning. She was like, oh, he's just a mountaineer.
Yeah, I told her I could guide her up Mount Rainier, and she's thinking,
like,
yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, I said that I don't need anybody to guide me up a mountain.
That is
into herself.
Yeah.
She didn't need me.
Oh my God. And Mike's like, what a woman. That is awesome.
I did need to be guided up Mount Rainier, though, because that's a harder climb, and you have to be roped together. And then Mike's oldest daughter, Carrie, was with us on the climb.
Oh, wow.
So that was neat.
Yeah. And then another time we were on made it to the top. And I know the mountain really well, Mount Rainier. So we were doing the Edmonds route up Mount Rainier. And once we got up there, there's a bird schrund. A bird schrund is where it's a crevasse where the inactive ice and the active ice is pulling away from the inactive ice. And it forms this large crevasse called the bird schrund. And there's a bridge. There was a snow bridge that goes across the bird schrund. And that's where everybody that was doing that route was doing. And it was bottlenecked up. And I knew how to go around and another way to go. So to the top.
Wow.
And then when we got down below the bird schrund on the way down, there was a group of people that were above the bird schrund, and they were perplexed on how to get through it. And so I was able to talk to them on their phone and tell them how to go around the bird schrund.
Wow. That's incredible, Mike.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, so you could have saved their lives. Like they were trying to get through it.
Yeah, they were. It's like a bird schrund's like a giant moat around a castle,
Wow.
And it's just a big crevasse. And it's a problem. So it's just all you have to do is, I knew how to get around it till guide we go.
It's so, to me, I have never climbed a mountain, but that is just so scary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could just fall in that, right?
Well, yeah, the bird schrund is not hidden.
Okay.
Crevasses, a lot of crevasses are covered with snow, and they're hidden. And I've stepped into a crevasse that I didn't see, and just my feet had poked through. But luckily, it was small enough that my pack caught me, and I didn't fall all the way. So I've never fallen into by accident a crevasse. Now I tried to jump one time, and there's a big crevasse, and so I took my pack off, and I says, okay, set up a belay. I'm going to jump across this crevasse. So I ran I jumped across. I planted my ice axes into the other side to pull myself up. And then my ice axe popped out, hit me in the head, and I fell into the crevasse. And so I had to get out of the crevasse. So I said, okay, we'll find a different way around.
How far of a fall was it?
Oh, it wasn't far. I had a belay on. I had a rope on. But I tried to jump across. Almost made it.
Oh my God. I cannot imagine. Okay, so Mike, you made a comment in a previous podcast that when you retired, you became Donna's assistant, which I find amazing. So Donna, can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? Where did you grow up and what was your childhood like?
I grew up in Southern California.
Okay.
And I had a wonderful childhood, but I always wanted to leave the LA area and travel. But my mom wasn't into traveling. She used to tease me that they thought they had picked up the wrong baby from the hospital because I was more adventurous than my mom and dad.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh, I love that. So at the age of 29 years old, without ever having published a single photograph, you decided to become a wildlife photographer. I'd say that's pretty gutsy. And I just want to know what inspired you to do that?
Well, I was married before, and my ex-husband and myself, we both liked wildlife. And so we got interested in wildlife photography, and we thought that some year when we get older, we would travel and photograph wildlife. Well, then he lost his job, and so we decided to sell our home and travel full time. And we figured we didn't have nothing to lose. We might as well try our hand at wildlife photography.
Wow.
And so the first year we sold 2 pictures and made $70.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And then we ended up getting a divorce. And so then I traveled by myself.
Was it your first story? Your first story was about barn owls?
Yeah,
barn owls, barn swallows.
barn swallows.
Yeah, barn swallows.
Yeah, I read that I'm self-taught. And so I read one day that if you can write and photograph, you have a better chance of selling your work. So I had been photographing some barn swallows, and I wrote an article about it and sent it in to Birdwatchers Digest. And that was my first story and photos that I sold. And then I started, I got into backpacking. And I thought, oh, maybe I could write a guidebook for hiking in Oregon. And so I wrote a book about, I found a publisher and wrote a book about Southern Oregon's wilderness areas. And I ended up writing a series of 4 books about all of Oregon's wilderness areas. And then from there I started, I wrote a book about bicycling from Florida to Maine. And then I rode my bike across the United States from Virginia to Oregon. And
which is another book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he was doing a lot of long distance bike riding.
That is incredible, Donna. And how was it? You were just by yourself? You know, Mike said that several times. You were just by yourself, and you just were totally comfortable in the wilderness, traveling and doing all these things alone.
Yeah.
She'd be out there by herself. Here'd be a group of guys coming there, on horses with guns and carrying guns and stuff like that. I couldn't believe that she's out there not carrying a gun out in the wilderness like that.
I just had a whistle.
She had to whistle. We carry bear spray. We carry bear spray now, but that was before bear spray.
And then, like when I biked across the country, I did meet other people that I would camp with sometimes or ride with in the day, and then I I put an ad in biking magazine they had a section called Companions Wanted. And so I met people through that magazine. And one of my friends that I met in Kansas, she rode with me for 5 weeks from Kansas to Missoula, Montana. And we became good friends. We just saw them. And so it was a great way to meet people too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can imagine you must become fast friends when you're doing something like that incredible together.
Yeah.
So I have a question about this. So each of you were extremely independent. You were extremely adventurous, kind of doing your own things. And what was it like when you started doing these things together? Like, it seems like it was pretty natural, and right off the bat, you realized that you guys were good partners.
Yeah. And one thing, I was used to doing whatever I wanted to do and not having to ask anybody's permission or take anybody else's feelings into consideration,
Yeah.
But one thing, Mike is used to being told what to do. So I would just plan trips and then just say, you want to do this? And he always says yes. And so it wasn't really like being much different than being single. I could still plan what I wanted to do. And he goes along with plan.
I'll walk into her office and she'll have something on her computer and I'm looking and like, what are you planning now? And she's already got this trip planned. So, okay. I was used to it. I come in the Army, I'd come into work and they'd tell me, okay, you're going such and such a place. And within a few hours I was gone.
My goodness.
It was just normal. Just, okay, and I would leave.
It's like a match made in heaven. That is incredible.
Yeah. I call her the General.
Good job, General. So, Donna, I have to ask, I had seen something about you and penguins. Can you tell us about what penguins mean to you and in your career?
I just have always loved penguins because they're cute and funny.
They're animated, they're just, they're entertaining.
Yeah, they're very entertaining.
Their antics and stuff like that. There's always something going on in the penguin column,
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's squabbles, there's fights, there's, it's just the community and there's just so much interaction.
Yeah. I just always I love all wildlife, but I especially love penguins.
And then you might have a school or a giant petrel come in trying to get a young penguin, and that creates more excitement in the penguin colony or after. And so, yeah.
You can find penguins in a lot of different places in the southern hemisphere. But Antarctica was always a dream of mine to go there to see penguins because there's a lot of penguins there. And it was when I first went to Antarctica, I was pretty sick going across the Drake Passage. And but when I got there, I would have been sick for a month to be there for a day. It was so amazing.
Yeah, the Drake Passage is one of the roughest waters between South America and the Antarctic Peninsula. It's the roughest waters in the world.
Wow.
You get 30-foot waves and stuff like that. So it's a wild sea. So the several days that you're going across the Drake, and that open water, because it kind of necks down. If you look at a map of the world, whereas the southern part of South America and the Antarctic Peninsula, it's kind of like a choke point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you were sick from the waters, Donna?
Seasick.
Yeah,
seasick. Okay. But it was worth it?
Oh, yeah.
What
I
type
would-
of penguins were there?
Well, I saw king penguins, which are the second largest penguins. And I saw gentoos, Adelie,
Kinstraps.
Magellanic,
Yeah. And,
Chinstrap.
and you went to South Georgia Island, so there's
Oh,
and the rock and there's rock.
yeah.
There's 18 different species of penguins.
Wow.
And
Yeah, there's warm weather penguins too. Like there's penguins that live in South Africa,
the black-footed,
Galapagos,
the black-footed penguins in South Africa.
Australia, and New Zealand.
Yeah. Technically, they say all the penguins are in southern hemisphere, but in the Galapagos, the very tip part of the Galapagos is across the equator, and there are penguins actually, in that region. So we've seen the Galapagos penguins, and of course, like Australia, you have the little blues, the fairy penguins. They're in Australia.
That is incredible. The only thing I know about penguins is from the movie Happy Feet. Have you seen the?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cute.
And then March of the Penguins too.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
That's a
Is it
good
good?
documentary.
that's an amazing.
I think Morgan Freeman narrates that, doesn't he? March of
Right.
yeah.
Donna, I'm just thinking about, how many animals you must have seen? Like, how many animals? Like, can you tell us about, like, just different experiences that you remember? Or do you have, other than penguins, do you have another favorite? Or is it more like birds? Is it more like, I'm just so curious about the animals that you've seen.
I just love everything. I love elephant seals, walruses, elephants.
Wow.
I've adopted a couple of elephants.
Yeah, what are all the animals you adopted?
A polar bear,
Yeah.
penguin,
And they have tracking collars on.
Oh,
elephant.
wow.
So yeah.
So what does
And
it
then-
mean if you adopt them? What does that mean?
It's just paying for them to like tag the animals and
Research
yeah.
Oh, good.
and laws. And then another thing she got is that there's a website called Happy Whales.
Uh-huh.
And have you heard of Happy Whales?
No.
So they keep track of all the whales. And so Donna has photographed a lot of whales, especially like humpback whales. If you photograph their tail, the bottom sides of their tail is kind of white with black spots. It's like a fingerprint. And so Donna sends in, when she takes pictures of whales, she sends them into Happy Feet. Happy Whale, Happy Feet. Now. Happy Whale. And they will, because they're tracking them, and they will report, okay, we've seen this whale here on the map. So that's another thing that she does.
Wow. So it's kind of like wildlife conservancy. You're helping protect and learn about wildlife.
Uh-huh.
I love that.
Well, we've like,
I photographed brown bears and grizzly bears.
yeah.
That was neat.
She got a picture at Yellowstone of a pair of grizzly bears mating in Yellowstone when we were there.
Oh my gosh.
She's like photographed Komodo dragons in Indonesia, in the Komodo. We've been, Galapagos, Australia, Africa, the Amazon, a lot of different places.
I got to kiss the gray whales
Yeah.
and
Wow.
the whales.
It's almost like you're the animal whisperer. I don't know how you can be so fearless, because wildlife can be dangerous, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it can be.
But,
It
she's,
is a long list.
yeah, she uses a big lens. A lot of people try to, use their phones to take pictures of bison, and they try to get really close. But with a long lens, you don't have to do that. And we're more probably attuned to animal behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and you can read an animal whether the animal's feeling comfortable or uncomfortable. There's different signs that you can look. When you get a bison, and the tail comes up and the eyes are bulging a little bit, and then they start pawing the ground. Well, that something's going to happen. The
Mm-hmm.
bison's
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable. But people just ignore all those signs from the animals. They're oblivious to them. But, one time we were biking in Yellowstone on this trail. It's an old stagecoach trail, which you're allowed to bike on. And as we're biking on it, here comes this whole herd of bison right at us. We have no place to go. And the bison just come right towards us, and they kind of part. And we're right in the middle of this bison herd as they're going around us. And we're on our bikes, and we're just staying. They're approaching us. We're not doing anything. We're just staying still. And of course, they're making bison noises and stuff like that. Donna's taking video of it, and you can hear Donna say, just go, oh, oh. But, it's just to understand animals and what they're comfortable with.
Yeah,
And,
yeah. Like sensing their energy and they're sensing your energy. So, yeah. Oh, that's great. And I wanted to ask you guys too, do you have a favorite trip that you took together?
well, we've been
on so many trips that
to three times. She's been to Antarctica 4 times. We've been 3 times. We went to Svalbard on a trip. Are you familiar with Svalbard?
No, no.
Svalbard is a group of islands that are owned by Norway, but they're halfway between Norway and the North Pole. And they're like 600 miles from the North Pole, Svalbard. And we did a trip to Svalbard there, and that was an amazing trip. We saw like 15 polar bears,
Wow.
the Svalbard reindeer, walruses, herds of we'd be in the Zodiac, and these walruses would be in the water right next to us, just popping their heads up, looking at us. And we got on land. We'd be on land, and a group of walruses would be in the water, and then they would come on land just like, what are these things on the land? They're looking at us. That was an amazing trip. The Galapagos was really amazing.
I also we went to Antarctica and South George Island together, and we saw a colony of 500,000 king penguins.
500,000?
So it's been a lot of good trips.
Yeah.
That is incredible. That is incredible. So I just want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to share all this with us. And Donna, for somebody that's listening, how can they find you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, I have a website. It's my name, Donna Ikenberry Photography.com.
Awesome. And I've seen it, and it's absolutely beautiful, beautiful website.
Yeah.
And her books, you can go to Amazon Books, or we can find her books on Amazon, that kind of stuff.
Wow. So Mike and Donna, what do you guys have on your horizon? I know there's travel in your future.
Well, besides Hawaii, we're going to be going to Australia and New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
This year.
Donna's never been to New Zealand. I've been there twice. So it'll be good to take and show her New Zealand. New Zealand's a great country. The people are so friendly. So
we've been taking trips where we can ride our bikes.
Oh, wow.
I can't hike as much as I used to because I have Parkinson's, and I've had some back surgeries that I just can't backpack like I used to, but we're still biking a lot.
Yeah,
Good for
we did
you.
a lot of climbing. We did a lot of climbing together. Donna was getting really great at climbing. She was actually leading 5.9 difficulty rock climbs, trad routes where you have to put in your own gear, like in Joshua Tree National Park in California. She was doing that, but then Parkinson's came along, and so we stopped climbing.
Oh, wow. But it's nice that you're still staying active and still riding your bike.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we started the interview and said that you were semi-retired. So this trip to New Zealand, are you planning to photograph any animals out there?
Yeah, I hope to photograph some penguins that are in New Zealand, like yellow-eyed penguins and what others? Some as a erect
crested penguins. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, New Zealand, I've heard that some people call it heaven on earth because it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been. Mike's been to New Zealand, but I haven't been.
I did climbing down in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
I climbed with the New Zealand SAS and stuff.
Wonderful. So, well, I'd be excited to see some of your pictures from New Zealand. Are you planning on publishing them or posting them to your website?
I'll put them on my website.
Awesome. So we have something to look forward to when you guys get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Donna and Mike, I fully believe that your relationship could be made into a movie. It's the most beautiful love story I have ever heard in my life. And I just am so grateful for this time to share with you guys and to learn about that love story, the Highpoint love story.
Maybe Hallmark would be interested.
Sure. I'm sure they would. It would be such an incredible.
We need a screenwriter.
We do. Yeah. So anybody out there listening? Okay. Is there anything you guys want to share with our listeners before we wrap it up?
Yeah. You have a list of questions you always give at the end of your podcast. Do you want to do any of those?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. We can jump right into our list, our questions for your favorite things. So, what is your favorite outdoor activity? And this is for both of you.
My favorite outdoor activity is biking.
Yep.
Biking?
Currently, it's biking. We're doing a lot of biking. The other day, we rode our bikes 30 miles into the town next to us and to drop off our voting ballots. So we drove 30 miles to drop off our ballots.
Oh, my gosh. I love that. Making an adventure.
Yeah, so biking is our current big outdoor activity right now.
Very nice. What is your favorite Donna Ikenberry photograph?
What's your favorite photograph? What's the most unique, once in a lifetime? She's got some of these once in a lifetime photographs.
One of the neatest things that I photographed was a great gray owl.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I only have seen one in my lifetime, and I was able to take pictures of a great gray owl. And it's the most beautiful owl in the world.
It's the largest owl in North America. And we were up in, where were we? In the Yukon. Yeah, in the Yukon, in Canada, in the Yukon, when we came across. We was driving down the road. There's a small pine tree, and there was sitting on the pine tree right next to the road was the great gray owl. So we get out, and they don't have any fear of humans. So this great gray owl just ignored us and was going about trying to, hunt and feed. And it was beautiful. Donna got some really good pictures of the great gray owl.
Wow.
One of them is hanging. Pictures hanging in our living room of the great gray.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. So is that both of your favorites? Mike, do you have another picture that stands out?
Well, my favorite picture is a picture of Donna. I have it on my desktop, my picture. So it's Donna in Antarctica. I took a picture of her photographing a bunch of chin-strap penguins. So she's got her tripod set up, her camera. She's got a backpack on, and then she looks at me, and she's got this biggest smile on her face because she's photographing this group of penguins. So that's my favorite. I have it on my desktop.
That is so romantic. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. What is your favorite high point?
The favorite one, Mauna Kea.
Yeah, the one that we got married on would be our, we'd have to say that's our favorite. It was a cold day. It was January 6th, 1999. It was like, 20 degrees on top or something like that.
That is cold.
It was cold on a couple of days after we left the top of the mount. It was covered in snow.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that was
That's so romantic again. Your favorite high point is where you got married. You guys are killing me.
I know. Because I told the chaplain that if we didn't make it to the top, we weren't getting married that day.
Oh my gosh.
So it was do or not do, but we would have tried it. If we couldn't make it that day, we would have tried it the next day. But I did tell him if we didn't make the top, we're not getting married that day.
Oh my gosh.
That was part of the whole thing.
Was it a hard climb?
No, 4-wheel drive. Took a 4-wheel drive vehicle up, and then you just a short walk after you get up. But again, that time of year, the weather's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mauna Kea has all those telescopes on the top of it too.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Did you see the telescopes?
Oh yeah, we could see the telescopes from where we were.
That is so neat. Okay, what is your favorite hobby when you're not traveling? And you might or might not have answered that. Your favorite hobby?
I like to read about other people's adventures.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So I read a lot about other people biking, hiking.
Yeah, my favorite is, I guess you'd say it's a hobby, is researching history. Researching EOD history, special operations history, researching, fully understanding the bomb disposal during World War II, Korea, Vietnam, from all 4 services and stuff like that. I have found several, since 2015, we've added names to the EOD Memorial, historical names to the EOD Memorial, based on my research with help with other people. We've added a Marine Corps name to the memorial. We've added several Navy names for 2 to the memorial. And I've got a list in Army names. I have a list of several Army names for review to be added from World War II to be added to be considered to be added to the EOD Memorial. What happened in 1969 when the idea that developed the EOD Memorial came along, we did our best at that time to go back in our history to find all the people that died doing bomb disposal EOD work. Mm-hmm. But we just didn't have the resources back in 1969. Now with computers and everything, documents being scanned and digitalized, and it's easier to do research and also to connect with other researchers. I get contacted with I was researching the 5 guys that died in 1945 on May 9th, 1945, Czechoslovakia. And we knew that we lost some people there in Czechoslovakia, but we didn't have what unit they were, what their names and stuff. So I started researching that and found another researcher in Czechoslovakia who's also researching the same thing across several deaths in this town of Prnek. And I've contacted with people in France that are researching. So, and we share the information. So
I was just going to ask that, Mike. Like, how do you share your research?
Well,
do you publish it or?
No, I share it. I write it all up and I share it through, whether it be the National EOD Association. The Navy EOD Association. I'm in contact with them. The Air Force Master Blasters. We share information, and we just share it within the community. None of it's really published, but it's shared throughout the community. Anything I put out in these EOD community emails that I send out, it goes out to. I put these emails out to 855 current and veteran EOD techs. If somebody passes away, I put the information out. I know you get my emails, Maria.
I do.
That's
I love them. Yeah, but you're not going to write a book or anything with all of this? Have you thought about it?
I know a lot of people have contacted me and said I should, but I don't know if I'm the right person to do it. So yeah, if I would, I'd be interested, but I need a co-author. I need somebody who can write.
Another shout out.
My
so
writing
we need a screenwriter and a co-writer.
My writing is more formal. It's not, like doing regular reports and stuff like that. I'm not very good. But
I know one person that you write really well with.
Yes. Yeah, just was that yesterday we reread our wedding vows yesterday. Get prepared for this thing. So we reread them. And I was surprised how good they were. Yeah. After we got done with our wedding vows, the minister wanted copies of them.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Did you give him a copy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's beautiful. Okay. So we answered that and then some. The last question. What is your favorite thing about the fall holiday season?
The fall colors.
Donna's
I'm
favorite.
sure.
Donna's favorite season is the fall.
Yeah.
Oh.
I like the fall because it's cooling down. And I like the fall colors.
Because, we have a lot of aspen trees here. And,
how nice.
In cottonwoods and stuff. We don't have the colors that they have like in New England with the hardwoods, the maples and stuff. We don't have any maples here. It's aspens and cottonwoods, but the aspens turn yellow and some of them turn orange. But it's beautiful.
Wow. Well, like I said, guys, I truly think that this is just a romance of a lifetime, and I'm just so thrilled to have gotten to learn more about you, Donna, and your incredible career. So, and fun that we have some shout outs out there. So maybe we're going to get a screenwriter and a co-author for you, Mike. So we wish you the very best in Hawaii and then on to New Zealand, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some pictures when you get back.
Okay. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you for listening to our Behind the Warrior podcast, brought to you by the EOD Warrior Foundation. The EOD Warrior Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization serving the EOD community by providing financial assistance, scholarships, and providing hope and wellness resources for the active duty, reserve, National Guard, retired, and veteran EOD communities and their families. We also honor our fallen and wounded EOD technicians by maintaining the EOD Memorial and Remembrance Garden. We do all this through the generosity of individual and corporate donors and sponsors. If you would like to assist the foundation or support our Behind the Warrior podcast, click the link on our webpage at eodwarriorfoundation.org or contact us at info@eodwarriorfoundation.org. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to tell a friend. The various opinions, beliefs, and viewpoints expressed by guests, contributors, and participants of the Behind the Warrior podcast are their own and are intended for informational purposes only. They do not necessarily reflect the opinions, beliefs, viewpoints, or policies of the EOD Warrior Foundation or its employees and volunteers.